All right, let's pray. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit. As it was in the beginning, it's now, and will be forever. Amen. The Father, the Son, Spirit. Amen. Uh, Briefly, kindly turn on your cameras just so that they can capture the attendance at the start. And then I also want you to type present in our chat box. Okay, just taking a screenshot now. Three, two, one. Okay. Uh, Cassandra, anak, I need your help to just remind the others, no, to log in na. Okay. Okay. Right. So, because we missed out on quite a number of meetings, it is only proper that we just take a look back, even very, very briefly, at where we last left off. So, I believe that you're able to see the slides, no, made by Mr. Laong, particularly pertaining entitled Social and Historical Foundations. Thumb up will do if you can see the slides. Can anybody confirm that the slide? Okay, perfect. All right. So we were able to start with this last time, and we were talking about the purposes of education. And part of the way by which we discussed it is actually through etymologies, no? So Siksha, for example, talks about discipline, control, order, directing, and ruling. And that is why in the last meeting, part of the discussion is trying to recall how our own parents, for example, tried to discipline us. And always, no, they are the first teachers. And then, in terms of the Sanskrit term vidya, it means essentially to know, no, particularly knowledge, and that is to acquire knowledge. And to widen it, education is the process that leads us to acquire knowledge, experiences, and skills. But what for? No? In terms of asking about what for, these are things that we will need to consider when we talk about the purposes naman of education. Right? So again, these are the things that we need to consider when we talk about the purposes of education. So, educare, which means to bring up, to rise, and to nourish. Students' potentiality should be developed with proper care and nourishment. And of course, when we talk about students, the first thing that comes to mind will be, of course, you, the students who are enrolled in formal education. But if you take, for example, also the other means by which education is being done, one other way by which students are called is actually an apprentice. Okay? Taas ng kamay if you're familiar with the very first Kung Fu Panda movie. Anybody? This was around 2008. Around the time you were born, I think. All right? So the very first Kung Fu Panda movie, try to remind me, okay? What was the name of that small master who could not stand Po? Okay? What was the name of that small master who could not stand Po? Angela, anak.
Si Master Shifu po.
Master Shifu, correct. All right. And Master Shifu could not stand Po, but Master Shifu already had a set of apprentices. How were they called? The Tigress was voiced by Angelina Jolie, if I remember it right. So, how were they called? Yes, Angela also.
Um, the Furious Five po?
Right, that's correct. The Furious Five. And then, lo and behold, during this moment in which they were trying to choose I think the term was the Dragon Warrior. During this very big moment in which uh that big turtle, Master Oogway, yeah. Master Oogway, I think, was trying to divine who the next Dragon Warrior is gonna be. Lo and behold, Poe, who wanted simply to see the Furious Five, ended up being catapulted all the way to the square. And then, when Master Ugoy opened his eyes, his finger was pointing at Poe. Right? And this was something that Master Shifu could not accept. Right? But he had no choice. Not all students need to be formally enrolled in a school. Sometimes they only need to be apprentices. Apprentices, unlike students, have a closer relationship with a master. Okay? The relationship is like master to an apprentice, an expert to, sorry, an expert to someone who is still a novice. Okay, that's essentially the relationship, the dynamics. And the role of the master, the role of the teacher in this particular case is for them to be able to determine, okay, how this particular person can be brought to the best potential. Okay? And that is why even in our sessions, at least the on-site ones that I have conducted so far, I always find time to ask you what exactly it is that you want, what exactly it is that you see yourself doing. Precisely because while masters at that, okay, have expertise, the reality is our paths and our destinies are still different. But that does not mean that you just wait for fate, for destiny to roll out, okay? To play itself out. No. Your decisions will affect how things will be. And that is why it's so crucial for you to also realize your potentialities and match them with your desires. May mga batang may potential, ayaw namang intindihin. That's fine. It's not a kabawasan kung yung batang may potential, ayaw naman niya yung gagawin niyang yun. Okay? People would have the remark na parang nakakahinayang. Okay? But what's the point of forcing something na alam naman natin na ayaw ng bata? So we as teachers, your parents, for example, and the mentors, the elders, can only guide, can maybe set an example, but not necessarily force you and then expect that everything will be successful. Okay? Next, educere means to lead out, to draw out, to bring form. Okay. I do not know if anybody here has experienced this. This is especially true for those who had time to grow up in the provinces or spend time in the provinces. Taas ang kamay kung meron sa inyong nakaranas na nung maliit pa kayo, para matuto kayong lumangoy, itinapon kayo sa dagat. Anybody who ever experienced that? Raise your hands. Kung merong ganon, ha? As in, ibinato kayo sa dagat o ibinato kayo sa pool para kayo ay matutong lumangoy. Okay. So, hindi nyo naranasan yon. That was the old way of raising kids to learn how to swim. Okay? And there are still many kids who until now, as long as they live in the rural areas, they actually remain to experience that kind of initiation. Siyempre, yung pagbabatuhan sa kanila na area, merong nakasisid, no? There's someone there who's actually submerged and is just waiting para mabato yung bata because of course anything that happens the kid will have to be brought up. Okay? But you have to put them also in situations, okay? In situations that you have that will bring out the best in them. Okay? There are two options, no, that people can take. You either give up, you get crushed, or you thrive, okay, in particular situations. I will not be asking the personal question right now, but there will come a moment in the class when I will ask you a rather personal question on on particular instances in which you were supposed to be learning something, not necessarily just in school. You may have been learning a life lesson or a lesson on people, relationships, or whatever, and you were close to considering, forget about it. You know, just forget about it. You know, just abandoning it altogether. Okay? Educatum is the act of teaching or training. Ito yung ginagawa namin. Pero hindi lang kaming mga formal professional teachers ang gagawa nito. You in your own way can also become teachers. Okay. Type in the chat box. What's one thing na tinuturo ninyo sa magulang ninyo? What's one thing na tinuturo ninyo sa magulang ninyo? Or naranasan mo, tinanong sa'yo ng magulang mo, ikaw nagturo sa kanya. What's one thing? Paano mag-selfie? Password nila. Okay. Paano po mag-screenshot sa gadget? Mag-order sa Shopee. Curious ako, nung tinuruan mo sila mag-order sa Shopee, binilhan ka rin ba nila? Okay, ng gusto mo. Mag-post ng FB story. Paano mag-login? Mag-set up ng Touch ID. Alright? For the iPhones and all those kinds of things. So, those are ways, no, by which you also become teachers without the formality, no, of it. Another thing is also, sorry, another etymology that we see, okay, is also educo, okay, means to lead out of. And what do we lead students out of? Essentially, we lead them out of ignorance, okay? We want to make sure that you don't, okay, grow up ignorant. I don't know if I mentioned this already in a previous class, but in terms of leading people out of ignorance and making people capable, okay, of living, okay, independently, or at least being able to function well. I couldn't forget the example set by my graduate school teacher who passed away in 2014. She has, I think, three or four kids. She passed away at the age of around 68. And she had a daughter with special needs. Okay. And this daughter would have been about, I think, 42 already by the time that the mother passed away. The daughter who had special needs was nonverbal, but can actually hear and understand. Okay. So the main language was actually, the main way of communication was touch. Okay. Approaching people, making a few grunts. Okay. And you try to understand. But essentially, the speech was not the more comprehensible kind that we are used to. Okay. And I remember because that professor of mine uh, knew that her time was coming. No? So she developed, I think, a blood related disease or cancer. I think it was leukemia that eventually cost her life. Okay. And I remember I asked during one conversation that we had 2 months before she passed away, what happens to ate? Okay. What happens to ate? Ate is what I call, of course, the daughter with special needs. Very, very nice person, very malambing and all that. Walang pinipiling bisita. Basta nakita niya na yung mommy, yung parents niya, okay ron sa taong yon, magiliw rin siya dun sa taong yon. So she's around 42. And then she said, my teacher said 2 months before she died, that in her last will and testament, and this is also shared by Daddy Joy. Daddy Joy is the husband, that they have already indicated in their will that upon the death of both of them, or upon their inability, no, to take care of the child, okay, of the daughter, then they will be transferring the care of the daughter to professionals within a facility. Okay? So, in Filipino culture, that's not necessarily something that's very common. Ang iniisip natin, hanggat maaari, yung pamilya ang mag-aalaga. But then one thing that the old couple realized is that their other children also have their own children to take care of, their own families. And their apprehension is that without professional help, the daughter who has special needs may not necessarily have enough support or adequate support. And that is why part of what they left behind is meant to cover the future expenses for the care of that particular daughter. Okay? So one of the things that in that conversation, one of the things that my professor was mentioning as maybe a regret is that during the time when her daughter was born, so this would have been in the 80s or the 70s at the earliest, there was not much recognition yet for those with special needs. Science and society at the time had not yet been able to cope with the reality. It was still a source of shame before, okay, for families to actually have children with special needs. It's not like the more inclusive society that we live in now. And her regret is that whenever she would see, for example, young children, either the grandchildren or the children of younger couples, and they are availing themselves no, of the services of a therapist, how she wished she had been able to do the same for her daughter at that time. Because she also went through a phase of denial. She also went through a phase of simply just letting it, set itself out. Anyway, things will get better. But unfortunately, things did not get better. Okay, without professional help. And at that time, it was not available. So the goal now, for example, no, for special needs education, the goal now is not simply to provide a daycare facility for the children. The goal is to actually make them functionally literate. By functional literacy, these things will mean, okay? These things will mean, functional literacy will mean things like being able to read, to count, okay, to speak, and essentially to understand. Okay? Educatus, okay, refers to like bringing up, educating. Educatio is the breeding or rearing up or bringing up. But what do all of these etymologies have in common? Okay? Their idea is that education is needed for a progressive society and targeted to bring overall prosperity to the individual by unfolding his or her potentialities. Prosperity, the ability to live with both material and non-material means or wealth, the ability to live comfortably, the ability to make sure that you as a person can enjoy whatever life has to offer without you, of course, stepping on the rights of other people. These are part, no, of what makes someone prosperous. Okay? Pakitype sa chat box. Paano mo masasabi na on your own ha, not thinking of your parents right now. Okay? Ano yung gusto mong ma-achieve sa buhay mo when you become a professional na ikaw ang nagpundar nun o ikaw ang nakabili nun o ikaw for example ang naka-achieve nun para masabi mong successful ka or para masabi mong prosperous ka. What's going to be your indication that there is that kind of success already for you or prosperity for you? Ano indication mo? Pa-type sa chat box. Thriving business. Okay, what else? Paano mo masasabing you're okay, you made it, you survived? Invest in property. Okay. What else? Medyo pang-adulting na usapan. Ano ba yung mga goal nyo? If I have separate houses with my parents na po without having to ask them for extra money, for electricity, water, etc. Basically, you're not just living on your own, you're already, no? You're already able to sustain, no? Your own expenses, your own life, essentially. So owning and sustaining my own home, what else? Ano yung iba? When I can buy things without looking at the price tag. Ah, it's true. What else? Kapag nakabili na ako sarili kong chasuble, okay, the sacred vestment, yes. I'm curious, how much is a chasuble these days? How much is a chasuble? Yung matinong yari ng chasuble. Tinong klase. Okay, around 30 to 50,000. All right. What else? Okay. Okay. Being financially independent when I have bought a walk-in cedar closet. Okay, a walk-in cedar closet. What else? Anything else? Anything else? Prosperity essentially is, I guess, um, seeing that you can do more than what you were able to do before. Okay. Of course, much of the answers have been or are conditioned, no? To much of the answers have been conditioned to account for what you can buy, what you can do with your money. And that's, I guess, how society has framed it for us. Na you attach the value to the money, when in fact, money is only a pathway or a symbol to for you to be able to access what is real. Diba? Money, meaning the paper in itself, has no inherent value until it becomes the pathway for you to actually be able to use it for something that you really need. Say, for example, wala ka naman kasing mapapala sa pera hanggat hindi mo siya gamitin. Kahit na mangolekta ka ng pera, which I personally do. Okay? Kahit na mangolekta ka ng pera, which I personally do, hindi mo siya, for example, mapapakinabangan until the time comes that it allows you to access something that you want. Okay? So wag niyong kakalimutan that as you rack up money later on in life, because you will, and you'll earn your own resources. Okay? Money was not the goal. Money should not be the goal. But it should be things like the freedom, freedom from worry, the peace of mind, the ability to live independently or even communally with family. There's nothing wrong with staying with your parents, no? As long as you also contribute, no? In the house. Okay? An individual, a society, a nation, in the world will flourish through a system which is called education. Okay? Of course, it does not automatically mean that because there is a system, automatically mag-flourish. Hindi naman. Okay? Kailangan yung system then is of high quality. Now, who is to be educated and who is to be schooled? All human beings will acquire knowledge through sense perception. Their power to know things comes about through intellect and understanding. And if they can acquire knowledge through sense perception, it is then important that those around them or the world around them will be a place where they can actually sense and perceive beneficial things. There is a big difference in terms of the life trajectory of people who grew up in impoverished, war-torn, conflict-riddled areas, in contrast to those who were actually born in middle class but peaceful, at the same time those who were born very rich and practically had nothing to hope for or nothing to look for because everything was provided for them. I may be biased in this next statement because I am from the middle class, but in terms of skill versatility, yung mga nasa middle class, and in terms of resiliency and skill versatility, yung mga nasa middle class, medyo nakakaangat. Resiliency is of course best seen in those who survive, no? In terms of conflict, war-torn areas, and resource-deprived areas. Resiliency is best seen in them. However, you also see that these people, after becoming resilient, can become jaded, can become cynical, very pessimistic, and they bring with them the baggage, no? The baggage of their prior challenges in life. Those who are rich, okay, are of course born into privilege. They become, very intelligent. They become very analytical. Okay, they can even explore a lot of talents, and they also access a lot. They also get access and the chance to do something good, no, for other people through the opportunities that will be open for them. Many of them also become resilient. Okay, but the journey to being resilient is an adjustment process, a big adjustment process, especially because they grew up in an environment na very protected. So when the time comes that they have to be resilient, medyo steep, no? Medyo mabigat yung learning curve for them. Now, which institutions are involved in the educational process? Education, in the general sense, is a form of learning in which the knowledge, skills, and habits of a group of people are transferred from one generation to the next through teaching, training, or research. Education, as I said in class, is more than just the school. It's more than just institutionalized education. Education is, of course, also about those that will informally teach you or through the non-formal way teach you about something. Okay? Now, we will not proceed anymore with the group activity, but allow me to mention about history of Philippine education. During this essentially is the summary of it, no? 1521 was pre-colonial period. Okay? It is wrong to say that Magellan, for example, discovered the Philippines. He arrived in the Philippines. Okay? He landed in the Philippines. But to say that he discovered it, okay, may actually invalidate the existence prior to 1521, okay, of a lot of the natives who have already been inhabiting the islands with their own culture, who have already been trading with other archipelagos and island partners, no, trading partners through barter trade, for example. Okay? What do you know about the pre-colonial period? Anybody? What do you know about the pre-colonial period of Philippine education? What were the things that people were what are the things that people were doing or were expected to know during pre-colonial education? Pre-colonial education, bago dumating ang mga Kastila. Okay? They praise the nature or the deities. Okay? They have faith on the gods based on nature. So parang mythological lang atake. Right? What else? It's informal education. There was not necessarily institutionalized schools where people have to go and then they earn certificates. There were no diplomas back then. What else? Things were more skill focused also. No? Things were more skill focused during that time. And what were the skills, the essential skills that people needed to learn in order to survive? Hunting, of course. What else? Farming. Actually, apart from just farming, foraging. Foraging. So essentially, when you go to the places and then you pick out the fruits, okay? Trading resources, producing the things that they need for trade. Making clothes, for example, textiles, because we would also be trading those, no, for the clothing of people. What else? What were skills that needed to be learned? You're forgetting something very important. What else? Yun lang ba ang skills? Hunting, farming, trading resources? Cooking. Very good. Taking care of the house. Okay? And at the time, in pre-colonial education, these roles were still gendered. Okay? We cannot fully say that only women cooked. We cannot fully say that only men hunted. There is no way for us to be able to say with 100% certainty that only women, only men. Okay? But we can say that traditionally, the house affairs were taken care of by the woman. Okay? Being exposed to the dangers of hunting was usually attributed to the males. Okay? That we can say. But to be able to say that 100%, okay? 100%, it's only the males who do it, it's only the females who do it. It is not, I think, you know, it's not realistic, nor is it even safe for us as people who are trying to learn scholarship, no, to be good academics. It's not something that we can say with certainty because precisely we were not living at that time, nor do we have definitive proof, no? Even the people describing the era during that time, nor do we have definitive proof that that is what they went through. Okay? Pre-colonial education was heavy on family relations, and it was heavy on being part of the community that you belong to. If you think of nomadic tribes, for example, okay, nomadic tribes in the past would go from one place to another, and usually part of the reason why they would transfer is the depletion of the resources available in the area, especially during the time when they were not yet able to grow their own food. So essentially, kapag ka naubos na yung mga pwedeng makain dun sa area, then they would have to go to a place where, okay, there would be better resources. But then, as was mentioned, no, farming eventually came to be. People learned how to produce their own food. People learned how to allow the earth to accelerate the production or reproduction of needed resources. And these kinds of things eventually made people settle more in a particular place because they don't have to transfer anymore simply because living in that place was already sustainable. Okay? Tingin niyo ba, kakayanin ng Pilipinas kapag ka wala nang nagpadala sa atin ng mga pagkain? Pag hindi na tayo nag-aangkat ng pagkain, angkat means import. Kapag hindi na tayo nag-aangkat ng pagkain, kakayanin ba natin? What do you think? Cassandra.
For me po, sir, may mga resources naman po yung Philippines po. But like yung paano po gawin kapag wala po yung ibang countries, mahihirapan po yung bansa natin kasi naging dependent na po tayo sa ibang countries po. But kung sa Pilipinas po yung usapan, may resources po tayo, but kulang lang po sa ability po kasi hindi po napupundohan masyado yung mga, yun nga po, po farming, ganun po.
We are import dependent. We import rice, pati nga asin ini-import natin. Even though we have a large coastline and we are surrounded practically by bodies of salty water. Okay? And if the time comes, no, if the time comes that there becomes a trade war, which is kind of brewing right now in North America, if the time comes when supply chains will be affected, okay, many Filipinos don't know how to produce their own food. Many Filipinos have money, but the money will be meaningless if you don't know how to produce your own food. Show of hands. Who among you know how to cook beyond frying, air frying, and beyond cooking pancit canton and instant noodles? You know how to cook a real meal. Taas ang kamay. Mhm. Four people. Lower your hands. Lower your hands. Next. Who among you can cook rice properly even if you don't use the rice cooker? Okay. Ayan. At least naman, at least pito, at least, ay, naku mga anak, at least pito sa inyo makakain ng kanin. Yung hindi nasusunog, ha? Alright. Put down your hands. Sino sa inyo pagdating ng zombie apocalypse, likely na lang mamamatay na lang kayo kasi hindi nyo masustain ang buhay ninyo? So yung mga hindi nagtataas ng kamay, lalaban? Hanggang sa mamatay, lalaban? Okay. Put down your hands. What is one life skill that you think you should learn very soon? Ano ba? Cooking, sewing clothes, repairing, electrical work? What's one thing? What's one skill na kailangan mong matutunan? Foraging? Only if we have an area. Pero what's one thing that you can do at home? Your current house. Try to look at your current house. The place where you live. Ano yung pwede mong matutunan dyan na life skill na dapat matutunan mong tunay? Tying basic knots. Alright? What else? What else? Cleaning. Okay. What else? Repairing. You have to be specific. Repairing what? Cleaning what? You have to be specific. So follow Sydney's answer. Tying basic knots. Sorry. Naka-private message pala. But anyway, there was nothing confidential about it. Sorry, Sydney. Oh, properly use the first aid kit. What else? By the way, speaking of the first aid kit that Maurice mentioned, taas ang kamay kapag kaya mo na kapag ka may open wound ka, nagasgasan or whatever, kaya mo nalagyan ng alcohol. As in, kaya mo yung sakit. Kaya mo tiisin yung sakit. Kaya naman. Siyempre, malaki na kayo, tanda na kayo, dapat kaya nyo na yan. Unless, siyempre, napakalalim naman ng sugat. Okay? Pero kung mga simple bruises, fine. So, what is the usual combo when you actually have an open wound that's not deep naman and you have to clean it? What's the combo? What are the essential things that you need? Soap and water, what else? Band-aid? Okay. Althea, anak, band-aid ba agad? Althea. Okay, betadine. Ano yung unahin ko, anak? Okay. Yung bumubula. Okay. Yung bumubula, okay. Ang tawag doon na is na agua oxygenada or essentially that's the hydrogen peroxide. So, tip ha, kapag ka may open wound na hindi malalim, meaning hindi kailangan tahiin, kaya hindi kailangan dalhin sa ER, so, soap and water are essential, but that presumes kasi that the water is also clean. That's why in the Philippines, sometimes we don't just use soap water. So I mean water with the soap. We use instead hydrogen peroxide or the agua oxygenada. So that's bought in a clinic. What happens is once you pour it on the wound, bubula siya. Yun yung nagpapabula. Kasi parang the logic daw is it's a way for you to pagka bumula raw siya, allegedly, yung kasing bacteria, yung bad bacteria nawawala, something like that. And then, lumalabas yung dumi, correct. And then, you put betadine on it. Sometimes betadine already has the same properties as the agua oxygenada, but it doesn't make it bubble up. Okay? So you put the betadine, okay? And then that's the time that you close it. Ako, I add one more. Okay? So I have the agua oxigenada. I put on alcohol. Okay, konting tiis yun. And then I have the betadine and then close it with a Band-Aid. Question. Who among you know how to properly put on a gauze? Gauze. Yung gasa. Who among you know how to? Okay? Magkaiba kasi mga anak yung Band-Aid. Band-Aid, dali lang nun eh. Okay? Pero yung gauze, the brown cloth one that you have to wrap around something, is a different thing. Okay? So, what else? What other skills do you need to learn? Yung mga pwede o dapat niyang matutunan? Wala na? Okay na? Okay na kayo sa life? What else? Yung mga ginagawa sa bahay na dapat marunong kayo. Okay. Nga pala, may tanong ako ha. Taas ang kamay. Doon sa bahay ninyo, alam nyo kung paano patayin ang supply ng tubig? So say for example, you're left alone in the house. Nasira yung faucet. Okay? Nasira yung faucet. Tumatagas ang tubig. Hindi mo naman masara kasi nga sira yung faucet. So, saan pinapatay ang supply ng tubig? Nasaan yun? Paano mo mapapatay ang supply ng tubig? Sa mga nagtaas ng kamay, saan? Paano pinapatay ang supply ng tubig? Where do you usually find the control for the water supply? Sabi nyo, alam nyo kung paano. Saan? Sa main. Nasaan yung main? Saan yung main, anak? Okay. All right. You go to the water meter. Okay? The water meter, 'di ba yung the water meter essentially is it has like a tumbler of numbers, right? Near the water meter, there is a valve. It's not a circular valve, but there's this particular shape of a metal that you can actually turn up to a 90-degree angle. So either you twist it if it's twisted on a 90-degree angle, water is flowing. If it's twisted back, meaning it overlaps, same it's parallel no to the water meter, then the water supply is cut off. Okay? So, yun yung way para makakuha ka ng supply ng tubig at makat mo yung supply ng tubig. Okay? Kapag ka nasira yung inyong faucet, okay? Hindi pwedeng, wala, naiiyak na lang ako. Hindi pwedeng ganun. Okay? Dapat marunong ka na mag-turn off ng water supply. I only say bahay kasi I'm not sure personally how it works in a condo. And there are building administrators in a condo. But if you are, for example, at home at ikaw lang mag-isa, okay? Nakakapanik yon kapag ka nasira yung faucet at hindi mo alam kung paano i-turn off. Alright? So, those are kinds of life skills. That and many more. Okay? Ang isang iti-challenge ko kayo bago mag-end ng semester, dapat may nadagdag kayong dalawang life skills sa inyong buhay. Okay? Pwedeng tungkol siya sa bahay. Pwedeng tungkol siya sa kotse if ever some of you already drive. Pwedeng tungkol siya for example sa pag-travel. For example, pagtawid, pag-commute. Okay? Those kinds of things. Pero to keep you safe, dun muna sa bahay. Okay? And I'll discuss more about that assignment soon. Okay. Now, in terms of, no? In terms of the Spanish regime, the Spanish regime is characterized by a heavy emphasis on Catholicism. Okay? A heavy emphasis on religion. There was a concerted effort to introduce Christianity in the Philippines, and it led to the conversion of many people from the native gods or the Bathala to Catholicism. However, it was not as successful in some parts of Mindanao, particularly what we now know as the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region of Muslim Mindanao, where Islam continued to thrive. During the Spanish regime, the priests, no, the friars, no, the missionaries from Spain were here to evangelize, were here to teach Christianity, but in doing so, also became involved because of their race, mga Kastila yung mga yan. Okay? Also became involved in government. Okay? They also became involved in how a particular town is going to be run. Okay? Including how the colony is going to be run. There were governors general. Okay? Essentially, they were the how do you call this? They were the representative of the king, okay, or the queen, as the case may be. However, the priests, no, the religious were heavily involved also in education. During the Spanish era, institutions, no, became institutionalized schools became more common. So there were seminaries, no, seminaries were the first. And these seminaries were institutions that aimed to recruit men into the priesthood, and by doing so, to make them live within the seminary, okay, so that they can already begin to get accustomed to how their life is going to be when they become a priest. Okay? One of the oldest, I think the oldest seminary in the Philippines is actually found now in Ateneo. Okay? So that's the San Jose Seminary. Of course, like almost everything, the first location was in Intramuros. Okay? But now it's in Loyola Heights. It's in the Katipunan campus, no, of Ateneo. In terms of the oldest university, of course that's UST. Okay? The oldest educational institution that is not a seminary, meaning to say it is something that confers degrees or diplomas, is actually UST. Okay, so that's 1611. Now, during this period, religion, Catholicism, especially in mainland Luzon and Visayas, as I said, became very, very influential, very popular, very important, no, in terms of upbringing. And the kind of instruction that was being done in school also had to be done at home. However, it was still not accessible to a wide group of people. Primary education, yes, was more accessible, but secondary and most especially university education was limited. Can you imagine, for example, only UST was the university for a long time? Okay? UST, for the first century, from 1611 all the way to 1732, only offered theology and philosophy. In 1733, we offered canon law. Lahat ng tatlong yon para yun sa mga magpapare. It was only in 1734 that UST began to offer law, civil law, which is now the degree that we call Juris Doctor, JD. Okay? So, there was that heavy emphasis to prepare priests. And many of the natives at the time were confined more to, at the most, maybe secondary education or primary education. Grammar, okay, a little of arithmetic, okay, and essentially functional literacy. Now, nagkaroon tayo ng civil law, pero ano sumunod? After 1734, ang next na natin, if I'm not mistaken, is medicine. Medicine and pharmacy is 1871. And then after that, philosophy and letters, yun na yung AB ngayon. That's 1896. Hanggang sa nagkaroon ng engineering in 1907. At ang education, inoffer lang 1926 na. American period na. Bakit? Okay? Bakit kaya ganon? The Philippines, particularly UST, essentially followed the European model of what professions are. Alright? What professions are. Ibig sabihin po nun, the professions in the European context, no, the universities prepared people for three professions, the three noble and the classic professions. Priesthood, medicine, law. Again, priesthood, medicine, law. Yun ang tatlong original professions. At ang UST, sinundan natin yung sequence ng tatlo. Priesthood, medicine, law. It's not like now na napakarami ng professions. Back then, in the classical European university context, ang meron lamang priesthood, medicine, and law. And for many years, for centuries, these were of course reserved for the men. Okay? UST began accepting women only in the 1920s. No? The Faculty of Pharmacy was the pioneer, no, in accepting women. Okay? So, looking at now at further details, okay? So going back, pre-colonial era, example, okay? We had our own art. We had we had our own writing, no? And during the pre-colonial era, whatever nature offered us, we used. As long as it was edible, we used it. Okay? During the pre-colonial era, the goal was the integration of individuals into the tribes. You should contribute to the community that you're born into. Okay? You had to survive. You had to conform and you had to pass on the culture. Kung ano yung customs, kung ano yung tradition, ipapasa ninyo. Tanong po, ano ang mga Filipino traditions na alam ninyo in relation to family? Okay? What are Filipino family traditions na until now alam ninyo or better na ranasan ninyo in your own particular families? Utang na loob, that's a value. What else? What are the other traditions? Hindi po umaalis sa hapag habang may kumakain pa. That's true. Okay? Family reunions, pagmamano. Huwag ilalagay ang siko doon sa mesa habang kumakain. What else? Okay, hindi ba tapos ang lahat, right? Huwag mo na nga alis sa dining table. I remember also yung kapag ka pag nakapwesto ka sa dining table, hindi ka dapat palipat-lipat ng pwesto. Kung saan ang pwesto mo dati, yun na yung pwesto mo. And when it was explained to me, the funny thing was, ang sabi pala kasi kapag palipat-lipat ka ng pwesto, marami ka magiging asawa. Something like that. No, so, yun pala yun. Yun pala yun at least explanation sa amin na parang kapag if you have a rectangular or a square table and then you keep on transferring instead of just occupying a common, one seat regularly, ang tendency raw or ang fear daw is hindi ka mananatili sa isang relasyon, no? Especially when you get married. What else? Something na ginagawa niyo pa rin sa bahay ninyo. Ano pa? Okay, anybody among you na meron pang common prayer time sa family? Anybody? Yung parang at the end of the day or at the start of the day, may common prayer time pa sa family. Meron ba? Meron, sir. Every Saturday. Okay, anong oras kayo nagdadasal? Curious. So, sumagot. Usually 8 p.m. Okay? My dad was telling us because my dad grew up in a very conservative household na nagkakastila before. So this was in the 60s and the 70s. He was saying that sa kanila, 6 p.m. 6 p.m. Lahat mag-a-angelus, no? Or the angelus. At magro-rosaryo. And at that time, ang kanilang rosaryo at pag-a-angelus, Kastila. No? Kastila yung kanilang dinadasal, no? Yung ginagamit nila pandasal. Okay? So, right. So these are some of the things that you have to pass on. Okay? Methods of teaching back then were primarily demonstration. Okay? Alibata, or which has been debunked already and is now called baybayin, okay, had its own way of or was its own way na of uh, the language at the time, the written language, no? And here, the type of education is informal and unstructured. The home is the school. The community is an extension of the school. Okay? During the Spanish period, okay, of course, Christianity, as I said, was becoming more widespread. Okay? The focus was religion. Okay? Education was not prescribed. It was not required. You can still function in society. And this is one of the points in which education, in terms of formal education, became a status symbol. It became a status symbol in that case. Because you did not know, or you only knew rather, who the people who would come from the best families were, depending on whether they could access education or not. Nung mas bata pa ako, ang status symbol ng pag-aaral, you knew that the person was rich kapag ka nag-aral siya sa Ateneo, kapag ka nag-aral siya sa Lasal. Ngayon, hindi na. Sa generation ninyo, ang status symbol na ng mga pamilya para masabing talagang mayaman sila is not even Ateneo or Lasal. Ang status symbol na kung local and the run or the international schools na nasa may BGC na ang tuition ay 400,000 to 500,000 a year, International School Manila is one, or even better, Ivy League universities. Ivy League universities are those found in the United States, and they usually are comprised of Harvard, for example, Yale, Stanford, these universities. Okay? So makikita mo rin, yung purchasing power ng Pilipinas tumataas na. Okay? Gone are the days na puro mayayaman ang nasa Ateneo. Mayaman pa rin, may kaya pa rin. Pero yung talagang yaman, mayaman talaga, wala na sa Ateneo. Wala na sa Lasal. Okay? Most of them are actually abroad, no? Studying abroad. So, the characteristics of Spanish education, a lot of catechism, a lot of education mentoring was done in the church. And at the time, uh, one of the most important methods used to teach is essentially mimic and memorize. Kasi these were natives na kailangang matuto kung paano magsalita o magdasal in Spanish, especially at the time na hindi pa natatranslate ng mga fathers, yung mga pare, mga scholars, yung prayers into the local language. Okay? The Roman Catholic Church, no, was became the main arm of education, and there should be at least one primary school for boys and girls in each town under the responsibility of the municipal government. Primary education was free. And this, until now, is being carried in the 1987 Constitution of the Philippines, which mandates that elementary or primary education is not only free, but compulsory. Okay? Compulsory for all. Now, give me, per person na nandito ha, give me an example of a Spanish influence that endures up until now in Philippine culture. Give me words, for example, that we use normally and until now, okay, that we normally use rather, and are actually manifestations of um that we use, that are vestiges of Spanish culture. Give me words or items, no, or things, parts of our everyday life that are actually vestiges or remnants or legacies of Spanish culture. La mesa. Okay? La mesa is literally the table. Okay? Kaya yung Santa Mesa is the holy table of the Last Supper. Yun yung Santa Mesa, that's a district here in Manila. What else? The cross, all right. Sapatos, okay, yes. In Spanish, it's actually zapatos. Zapatos. Buena mano. Okay, who can translate what buena mano is? What's the literal translation of buena mano? Literal translation of buena mano. What is the meaning of buena mano sa negosyo? Unang benta, correct. So ano ang ibig sabihin ng buena mano? Biyaya. Biyaya is a blessing. But what's buena mano? What's the literal translation? Very good, Aisel. Good hand. Good hand. Ano ngayon ang tawag kapag ka bumili ka ng bagay na dati nang binili ng iba o ginamit ng iba? So there was a first owner and then you bought it. Segunda mano or second hand. Sa atin, we don't say primera mano. We don't say first hand. We say buena mano kasi yun ang first. Okay? Okay. Now, what other things? What other Spanish parts do you see? Your surnames, yes. Balik ko ng mga surnames niyo. Okay. Hindi lahat alam ko ha. Cortez, I do not know if it relates to the courts. Del Mundo is of the world. Okay? De las Armas of the arms, no? Particle of the weapons, no? Pagkanlungan is already Tagalog. Piedad is piety, being prayerful. Okay? Yan. Yan yung at least mga alam ko. Santos is the saints. Reyes is the kings, no? So yan yung ating mga klase ng Spanish influences. Sino nagko-commute? Taas ang kamay na nagko-commute at sumasakay sa jeep. Ano sinasabi mo pagka bababa ka na? Para po. Para, okay? Para, they say, is of Spanish influence. That's what they say. However, no, it's not necessarily true or not necessarily the case na automatic para is actually taken from Spanish. Okay? The original is parar. Parar. Okay? Stop in Spanish, one of the ways to say it is actually parar. Okay? Next. Taas ang kamay kapag ka narinig nyo yung parents nyo o mga matatanda nagsabi, basta. Anybody who has heard parents or older people say that, basta. No? When you're asking or parang it's time to end the argument or whatever, you've heard them say basta. Anybody who's had that? Basta. Okay. What does basta mean? What does basta mean? Okay? Basta. Basta means enough. Stop it. No? Solo Dios basta. God alone is enough. Okay? Basta is enough. Or stop it. Okay? There are ways, no, to say that, no? And there are a lot of Spanish influences na until now ay nasa atin. Question, ano yung apat na streets na nakapalibot sa UST campus? Espanya, Lacson, Dapitan, Pinaval. Correct. Ano yung dating pangalan ng Lacson? Can anybody share? Ano ang dating Ano ang dating all right. Okay, Isel got it right. The old name of Lacson is Governor Forbes. Now, who can tell me the significance of the four names? Bakit yun kaya ang mga naging pangalan? What do they represent, no? What does each name symbolize? What does each name symbolize? Can anybody tell me? What does each name symbolize? People have contributed or have contributions to the specific place, but then España is not a person. Dapitan is not a person. Dapitan and España are places. Governor Forbes is a person. Padre Noval is a person. Clue. Kaya niyo yan. Kaya niyo yan. Try to think of the names. Saan kaya galing yung Espanya na term? From Spain. Governor Forbes. America. Dapitan. Dapitan is in Zamboanga. That's where Rizal was exiled in Mindanao. Philippines. So may Spanish, may American, may Filipino. Padre Noval? Padre Noval? Pinoval is Padre Noval. There is no Padre Noval in the El Fili or in the Noli, unlike Padre Florentino, for example. Ano kaya yung Padre Noval? Dominican, yes. Dominican, si Padre Noval. The four names around the campus represent the four dimensions of university history. Spanish, American period, kasi lumipat tayo sa Sampaloc during the American period. We are a Filipino university owned by the Dominicans. Gets? So, España, Spanish. Lacson, Governor Forbes, American. Dapitan, Filipino. And then Padre Noval is Dominican. Okay? So the four core parts of our identity, our history, in terms of influences and people, no? Spanish, American, Filipino, and Dominican. Okay? Questions? Questions? Okay. On that note, I will be ending our session, but with an assignment. Okay. First, please expect on Canvas that I will be sharing a rather long article. It's an old article from 1965. And essentially, this article talks about primary education in the Philippines during the Spanish period. From 1863, when it became mandatory, from 1565 to 1863. So this was before it became mandatory. Okay? So, now, there will be that article and there will be instructions on Canvas as to what to do with the article. As I told you, I will not be able to meet you in person next week because I will be in Tokyo around that time. But we will be I will double check if we can have a synchronous session or if there will be a pre-recorded session with instructions on what you will do as outputs for the day. Okay? The same thing goes with the same thing goes with the February 12 session. So I will see you in person on February 18. All right? Okay, questions? All right. Turn on your cameras for our closing attendance check. Where are the others? Okay, in 3, 2, 1. Okay, please type present before you leave. Those who have already done so may go. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye po, sir. Thank you po.
Thank you
Bye.
po.